Hello and welcome to a new edition of Sound Off Sports. Big time stuff from Luka and LeBron to NIL potentially ruining college football. We got so much to talk about, all coming up right now on Sound Off Sports.
Make some noise. This is Sound Off Sports, sponsored by Sam and Ash.
Can LeBron and Luka win an NBA championship in Los Angeles? Kevin McGee Sr. on Facebook says maybe if LeBron can stay on the floor.
Hello and welcome inside the den here at Fox 5 Studios. Mike Davis along with James Edward Barrickman the fourth. NBA playoffs are upon us. We're going to be talking that. We're going to be talking a little LeBron Luka, a little Nico down in Knoxville action. Not a good year for the Nicos. Nico Harrison shipping off Luka, and now Nico Iamaleava not doing so well. But let's start with LeBron and Luka. Okay, so we asked everybody at home, can LeBron and Luka win an NBA championship together as the Lakers take on the Timberwolves? Listen, the NBA and even the playoffs, I mean, it just becomes more intensified in the playoffs. The NBA is all about star power.
1,000%.
It's all about your best players playing well on the big stage. So now that you have LeBron and Luka in tandem, guys who have career playoff points per game averages. I believe Luka's at like 30 and LeBron's at 28. That's what they average in their career. Even if LeBron's at 40, the key now becomes, is LeBron going to be healthy and is he going to be able to sustain this throughout the playoffs? The good thing is they have 9 days off since, securing that third seed. So he's rested. Luka and him gelling together. Redick as their coach, I think they made a major upgrade with him. We've seen what he's done as a rookie head coach. But, it's going to be tough going against the Timberwolves, a team that was in the Western Conference playoffs last year. And Anthony Edwards could be the best player on the floor if he plays like that for 4 games and gets, a best-of-7 win. But I still think this is going to be a Lakers series. And I think that's good for the NBA.
I think, probably. Big market like Los Angeles, star power like LeBron and Luka. And I think of all the teams in the playoffs, I think the Lakers are going to be the most interesting to watch. Given that, one, it's the Lakers. 2, you have maybe the 2 biggest stars in the game in LeBron and Luka. And in first-year head coach, J.J. Redick. I think all of that combined, I'm really, really excited to watch how the Lakers playoff series is.
From a matchup standpoint, though, it is fascinating because we all know they were trying to make that deal for Austin, not with Austin, but with Dalton Connect.
For Mark Williams.
For Mark Williams, which would be fascinating because I think the one hiccup here for the Lakers could be
they can't rebound.
They can't rebound, and who's going to protect the rim? You got Naz Reid, you got Rudy Gobert, Jaden McDaniels kind of gets in there a little bit too. So, I mean, it's going to be tough because I think that's their biggest deficiency, but I still think best of 7, LeBron and Luka, if they play,
they're going to have to be Superman, both of them.
Yeah, they're both going to have to play. But I mean,
or somebody's going to have to step up on that team outside of their big 3.
Now, I do think this is the series and the opportunity. We kind of saw it happen last year a little bit where Anthony Edwards kind of elevated himself into that top tier of top 10 in the NBA. I think this is a series, 6 versus 3, where Anthony Edwards could cement himself as like a top 2-3 player in the league if he's the best player on the floor.
Right.
Versus LeBron and Luka. I mean, that would be pretty cool. I just think it's going to be one of the best series we're going to see all playoff long. You got Chris Finch, a great coach with the T-Wolves. Redick has been superb in his rookie season. We'll see what happens. I think this is really going to say more about Luka, though, than it is. I think LeBron's going to show up. We already know who LeBron is.
Right, of course.
I'm curious to see how Luka really shows up with LeBron, 2 guys who are ball-dominant players in a playoff series. What happens when they don't have AD? Because we've seen what LeBron can do with the Lakers. When they listen, everybody was crapping on AD, but, I mean, he's probably the best defensive player in the NBA.
No question.
He's a great guy to have protecting the rim. So when you don't have him in
call him street clothes, but
Right.
Yeah.
When they won that
man can
bubble NBA championship, a lot of it was because of Anthony Davis.
Right. Absolutely.
So, I don't know. You see, I mean, Nas Reed could take over a game or two, and what happens?
I just think that looking at it, the Lakers they got the star power, but do they have the rest of the roster? Is that aspect of that team ready to go? And I think the Lakers, they have Luka, right? And they have LeBron. They're going to have to be the best players on the floor at all times, unless somebody like a Jackson Hayes or a Jared Vanderbilt can step up and play over their skis for an entire playoff run.
And sometimes that happens.
I don't see the Lakers going too far past the first round.
And the T-Wolves just have such a good roster, and they've been a good team for a while. Now they have Julius Randle, Dante DiVincenzo, Dillingham. So, listen, that 3rd and 6th seed, it was so close in the Western Conference. The Lakers were 50-32. The T-Wolves were 49-33. So it's not like these were two teams. The T-Wolves went on like a 3-game win streak at the end of the season to kind of, which was helpful. But the separation between these two teams isn't that vast. So we'll see what happens. But LeBron and Luka, it's definitely going to be good TV going up against Anthony Edwards. Guys, coming up after a short break, we're talking to Jason Egan. He's breaking down his new John Wick experience here in Las Vegas. You don't want to miss it. That's after these words.
Can LeBron and Luka win an NBA championship in Los Angeles? David Houghton on Facebook says, nah, LaFlop will be on the floor sniffling at the refs.
I am with one of my favorite people. He scares the crap out of me most of the time. That's how I first became infatuated with this man. But Jason Egan has been a fixture here in our community, I believe since 2001 is when you moved. You're an Omaha, Nebraska guy.
That is correct. I moved here and I was looking for places. I went to school in Lincoln and had a haunted house in Lincoln, Nebraska. And I was like, it wasn't good enough for me. I loved it, don't get me wrong, but it was a town of like 200,000 people. And I'm like, I need somewhere big. This isn't going to work for me. I want something big. I want to put myself on the map. And I had researched all these cities across the country. I was traveling, and I found Las Vegas. And I'm like, oh, there's no haunted houses here. There's really, it's the city's young. It needs help. So I came out to Las Vegas. I picked up and moved. I actually made a ton of money off of a stock. It was purchasing a stock IPO. So back in those days, you could buy any tech stock, and if you could get a hold of it, it would go to the moon. It was insane. So I bought a tech stock one day. I had barely any money in my name. And the broker's like, spend $3,500 on this, Jason. I can get you this IPO. And I think it's called Avanex at the time. And I'm like, okay. And I made like $40,000 overnight. And I had never had $40,000 to my name. So I'm like, I made $40,000 overnight. And I'm like, oh my God. And I sold because my guy's like, sell. So I sold. Good idea to sell. And I picked up and moved out to Las Vegas. Got a house here. Got a coveted job, the valet parking job, which back in the day.
Was that your first job?
It was my first job here.
Where?
So it was at MGM Grand. So, and go figure, they were my partners for 15 years after that, after we started Fright Dome. But so I got a coveted valet position, started over there, and then I moved over to the mansion, which is incredible. So I was the only valet parker at the mansion. I sweet talked myself into there somehow. And then I moved to Bellagio. This is all over like a 1.5 year time period at the most. And then in 2002, I started my first real haunted house here. So it was crazy.
It's crazy because, Fright Dome at 23, I believe, is when I researched. You struck a deal with MGM to launch Fright Dome. It became a fixture here at Circus Circus. But I first moved here about 6 years ago, 2019, and I became familiar with you because of all these experiences that you would have, these immersive experiences like Saw Escape.
You were here of Saw first.
Saw was, that's where I almost got in trouble with some of my bosses because of how frightened I was. Good. That's how, because listen, if you love horror here in our community in Las Vegas, you go to a crazy level. And that's why we're here in the studio. We're going to get to all the great stuff you're doing now because I'm not the biggest horror guy, but I love John Wick. And you have this John Wick experience now at Area 15. We'll get to that. But what's so fascinating about you is you're so like, listen, we've all been to haunted houses in our life, right? Growing up, Halloween, you go to your neighbor down the street that really goes all out or anything. You took haunted houses to a cinematic level. And that's why it makes so much sense. You were able to strike deals with Lionsgate, from It to, Saw to, you even did something, Blair Witch, Hunger Games. So to listen to the complete conversation with Jason Egan, go to our YouTube page, Silver State Sports.
Is name, image, and likeness hurting college athletics? Ronnie Escalante on Facebook says, it's not hurting it, it's destroying it.
Well, the Tennessee Volunteers are in need of a new quarterback. Name, image, and likeness. NIL deals really causing a stir in Knoxville as quarterback Nico Iamaleava, I think I said
pretty
that
good.
Right. Was
Yeah.
that pretty good?
It was pretty good.
A guy who started every game last year, led the Volunteers to the college football playoff as they got destroyed by
That was a rough game.
Ohio State in the college football playoff. Nico had 2 rushing touchdowns that game, threw for about 100 yards. Here's the take-home message. So this is a guy who is making $2.1 million in his NIL deal currently with the Volunteers. He wants 4. So he holds out after spending a whole year with the team, getting ready for his year 2 jump, and he holds out, wanting more money. Now the Volunteers don't even want to deal with him. So listen, NIL, college football, it's the Wild West right now. We don't know any of the rules in terms of how this works. Coaches
There are no rules.
Right. There are no rules.
Yeah.
So coaches can get up and leave whenever they want. Players should probably be able to do the same
Players
thing.
can also get up and leave whenever they
Here's
want.
what I do think is fascinating. Do I like this guy's character, this young man's, the head on his shoulders, what he's demonstrating? No, don't love it. But taking a look at On3, which is a website that constructs and compiles all of the NIL deals in college football, Nico's making $2.1 million this year.
Yeah.
Arch Manning with University of Texas, he's making 6.6. That's the most. Carson Beck, leaving Georgia for Miami Hurricanes, now making 4.3. That's number 2. Jeremiah Smith, the stud wideout for Ohio State, he's number 3, making 4. I don't have to go through the entire list, but Nico is ranked 18th in college football right now in terms of earnings. There's a safety at Ohio State named Caleb Downs who's making more than him, 2.4. There's the quarterback for the Gamecocks, for Gainesville, for Clemson, for NC State, for Michigan, for Arizona State.
Are you about to make a point that...
So, I mean, all these guys are making more money than Nico, and I understand that Nico might be good, not great right now, ready to take that next jump. But I would think that Nico...
So you're on Nico's side in this.
I think he's probably not making as much as he should have been making, but now it's too late.
By what metric should Nico be paid more than what he's being paid?
He's a quarterback in the SEC who had a QB...
If anything, he's overpaid.
He had a QB...
Given his play his freshman year at Tennessee.
It was a freshman in the SEC. He took them to the college football playoff with a good supporting cast.
Wouldn't say he took them.
Okay, but he's
he
a
had
starting
19
quarterback.
touchdown passes, and 9 of them were against UTEP, Vandy, and Kent State.
He was middle of the road in terms of quarterback rating in the SEC as a freshman at Tennessee with a pretty good supporting cast. If you're taking a look at at the landscape of college football, most of these guys are making $3 or more million as a quarterback at a top-tier program. I would consider the Volunteers a top-tier program. So, I think that's just where the mistake, and his father's in his ear. He's got an agent in his ear. So there's a lot of people surrounding him saying, hey, Nico, you're kind of not making as much money as you should. The safety at Ohio State's making more than you, and you're a
Caleb Downs is probably going to be a first-round pick.
I'm sure. But I'm just saying, if you look at quarterbacks, he's 18th on the list.
I don't
Do you
agree
disagree or agree with me?
This is like, we talk a lot about should the Niners pay Brock Purdy.
Right.
Like giving Nico Iamaleava any more than he's already making, I think would be the college football equivalent of the Niners paying Brock Purdy.
So
like
Sam Levitt at Arizona State's worth 3, Bryce Underwood.
I think a lot of these quarterbacks are getting overpaid.
That's all I'm saying.
No question.
Right.
I don't think, but if you're Tennessee and you are one of the premier programs in college football, why are you overpaying for a guy who didn't even throw for 300 yards or more once in his freshman season? There are plenty of guys that Josh Heupel can take and not really miss a step if you're the Tennessee.
So who's in the wrong here?
I don't think anybody's in the wrong. I think the NCAA is in the wrong. That's what I think. This is just the bed that the NCAA has made for itself because, sure, Nico, go get your money, man. That's fine. And if you're Tennessee, you don't need to bend to his demands if you don't think he's worth what he's asking for. I think this is just the era that we are living in right now in college athletics, and I don't think it's good for the game. There's a laundry list of things that are problems right now with college, specifically college football and college basketball, where there's just so much turnover year to year. There's how many different portal windows. It's, kids are getting paid basically salaries without any actual obligation to stay at these places that are paying them longer than a year. The NCAA fought for how many years to make it so these players wouldn't get paid, and they saw the writing on the wall for years, and somehow when this ruling came down in 2021, they still weren't prepared for it, and this is what we're seeing. There's no parameters, there's no rules. They need to step in and just add some sort of structure to this thing. It's good that players can make their money, but it can't be this out of control. The NCAA needs to step in and actually.
No, there needs to be some structure. Let's hear what people at home are saying about this exact issue as well. Let's hear this voicemail.
Hey, boys. This is Abraham over in Boulder City. A big fan of the show. But today I want to talk about NIL, specifically what the hell is going down at Tennessee. What the The way I understood it, NIL was supposed to be about guys getting paid for, being on the cover of NCAA football, signing autograph sessions, or having their jersey sell. Whatever the hell is going on at Tennessee has turned into dudes holding out mid-season just to play in the playoffs. By my understanding of our legal system, there's a term for that, and it's called extortion. Then when the season ends, all of a sudden, everyone's a free agent. Big free-for-all. What do you do? I mean, who's going to represent me? I don't know. My dad could do it. My uncle, the dude down the street. There's no system in place for agents being registered. Everyone's making offers to everyone. And it's just killing the sport, in my opinion. If you're a young kid watching these games, there's zero roster continuity. Completely new rosters every single season for every team almost. The same teams win every year. And even in the off chance some mid-major pulls a rabbit out of their and just pulls off a great season, their roster inevitably gets ransacked by the same 5 teams who win the national title every season. I think it's killing the sport. Right now, the ratings are getting carried by old people who just are hardwired to watch their team, but as a young person, I have no idea how you could stay locked in, and it's just going to end poorly for everyone involved.
All right, big shout out to Abraham in Boulder City.
Shout out to old Abe.
Shout out to Boulder City. I just love it there. The coffee cup. I got to go back there.
It's a great town.
It's a great town.
Last thing I just want to say about this, I think it says a lot. The portal opened today at the time in which we were taping this show, which is Wednesday. And Nico Iamaleava's portal interest, there doesn't appear to be much of any.
But I think
and a lot of schools reportedly are waiting for his price to come down.
Is it more about his play or about his demeanor and the way that he's acting and how this is transpiring?
I don't think it has anything to do with his character. I think he's a good kid. You ask and you read up on all of this. There are no reports that he had any issues at Tennessee. He had a great relationship with his coaching staff, his teammates. it's all about his asking price. And I don't think teams are willing to pay that, and it shows in his lack of interest in the portal.
Last question. Do you think there's a world, James, where Nico and Bill Belichick and UNC collide? Because Coach Belichick doesn't have his QB yet, does he?
I'm not totally sure what quarterbacks are on North Carolina's roster. However, there was reports that UNC was interested as of, I think, Monday or Tuesday of this week. They were out.
All right. Well, it might work out for the best if Nico can go with the GOAT, Bill Belichick. So we'll see what happens there. Coming up after a short break, we got more SOS. It's time for Sink or Swim after these words.
Is name, image, and likeness hurting college athletics? Chris Wheat on Facebook says, Josh Heupel is the absolute chance that kid had to develop into the elite QB he absolutely can be. But he's not quite there yet. I've sat directly behind the bench, and the kid won't even look at the fans, won't even acknowledge us, and we treated him and his family like royalty. But Vols fans are nothing if not prideful. We know we will lose more games this season, but we will lose with kids who want to be there.
Welcome back to Sound Off Sports. Time for Sink or Swim. James, you were on the interwebs. You're
Yes.
playing a lot of games. You know what's going on online.
I'm chronically on Twitter.
So tell me what happened with potential number 1 overall draft prospect Cam Ward.
Well, it sounds like Cam Ward knows he's going to be a Tennessee Titan. He's on stream on Fortnite. Kids love Fortnite. Talking about his top 5 receivers, and he included Calvin Ridley and Traylon Burks, Tennessee receivers. Said that Tyjae Spears and company were 2 of the best running backs in the league. Sounds like the guy knows he's going to be a Tennessee Titan. If you're the Titans, are you taking Cam Ward or Travis Hunter?
Travis Hunter. I mean, I just think he's generational talent. Like, I think on both sides of the ball, we're going to see a guy who's Shohei-ish being elite at both sides of the football. So that's what I would do. And I'm a Miami guy as well. But anyway, quarterbacks run the NFL. That's how it works. So it's probably going to be Cam Ward. James, great having you on the show. Guys, we'll see you next time here on Sound Off Sports. Thanks so much for tuning in.